in those areas where there is conflict and it is hard to be there and it's dangerous, that's where telemedicine can provide some value, is getting access to those people, or those people getting access to medical professionals, because healthcare providers are already a limited commodity, and then trying to get them to go or to continue to stay in a war zone is very challenging. Often those providers who've lived there previously have the means to leave, or those people left behind don't have the means to leave, so they're kind of stuck there. And so telemedicine allows for healthcare to be provided to those people who stayed behind. What's interesting, though, is that a lot of those folks in those area, the type of things that they need are more basic. So like a lot of times it's like food or gas, medicine, hygiene stuff like antiseptic and soap, or things to stay clean, or it's hard to get to. And it's dangerous. So their needs are very much more basic, and it's more survival. And the type of care that telemedicine can provide is almost like secondary healthcare. It's kind of like the mental health, it's the counseling, it's the guidance. They're not going to need mental health counseling when they are dodging bullets and are hungry, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, there's a role for telemedicine, but it's not the silver bullet. There's still greater needs there in certain areas that telemedicine just can't address. We do have users in Ukraine and in Israel and even in Gaza as well. And so we were just actually pulling up the data in preparation for this. And what's interesting is that, like in Israel, for example, we're looking at the trends over the last year, and there was a noticeable uptick in sessions after October 7th. And so it increased by probably about 20-30% increase after the October 7th attacks. And even in Gaza, there was steady usage, and then after that it popped up. But then what's interesting is it's kind of variable, and it probably has to do with the intermittent internet access. And so clearly people are using telemedicine in these areas. And you can assume that, in Israel, probably a lot more mental and behavioral health, PTSD type of counseling that happened there. Also limited access, limited ability to travel between places, probably increase the use of telemedicine for safety purposes. And then similarly in Gaza, there's probably an increase in usage due to therapy or counseling or anything like that since the invasion. But you can tell when the invasion happened, there's noticeable drops in usage due to power outages and internet outages and stuff like that. You'd be surprised how good internet is in war zones. Most people in war zones are using their phones, and they have phone access, cellular access, and that's all you need to have a telemedicine call. So if you have a phone that's powered up and connect to a cell tower, you can do telemedicine. So fortunately, that's nice. You don't have to worry about landlines and or cabled internet access or computers and stuff like that. And so it does work surprisingly good as long as the towers are working and functional. There have been cases where towers have gone out, or in natural disasters, for example. Sometimes nobody will have power, but they'll have cellular service, which is like super ironic. So if you got enough power on your phone, you can get it. But sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you need power, but not a cell tower. But that's usually temporary, because oftentimes cell towers are pretty quick in setting up temporary towers. The other thing is sometimes the towers can be overwhelmed with too much communication, and the internet goes from like a 4G to just basic text messaging or calls. You can't do internet, or the internet's super slow. So, I mean, there are these variabilities that, you have to deal with, but it is surprisingly good, which is nice to have. It's not the silver bullet. Like I said, it's not going to address all the issues, but for those people who it does help, it does help. And we're glad and honored to be able to be used in some capacity to help relieve suffering.